And America did reward him with allowing him to get ahead, not only materially, but spiritually as well as politically. In fact, he so wanted to become part of the American dream that when he crossed the border in 1949, and 6 months later he was drafted into the United States Army. And if you know your history, the Korean War was going on at the time. And my father had the opportunity to go back to his homeland. But he so wanted to become part of what America was about, what America represented to the rest of the world, that he was willing to fight for this country where he didn't even have citizenship yet. And because he did go and fight, he was able to earn his citizenship. And when I grew up as a young boy, and my brothers and I, we were taught from the very beginning that in America, anything was possible. That in America, you counted. That in America, you were free and you were expected to voice your opinion. You were supposed to speak out on what you believed was the right way or the wrong way politically. That you were supposed to get involved with your local community. And that you were supposed to follow what goes on across the country and to make a difference. Now, why do I speak that here tonight? It's because this community has embraced those same ideals. This community has seen that America is a bright, shining city upon a hill. And that America is and can be all going out and working in a political manner. It's going about talking to your friends and your neighbors, whether you be at the mosque or a synagogue or a church, talking with folks and expressing what it is that you believe, the direction you believe our nation ought to take. And so I encourage you that over the next 9 days, as you read the paper, as you talk to your friends, your co-workers, that you voice your opinion. You tell them who you support for office. Now I know over the next 9 days I will talk to the people about the person I support for office, John McCain. And I will tell them why I support him, that he has been very open on issues like immigration and welcoming folks like my parents, even if they didn't look like my parents or sound like my parents. And that would be one of the reasons that I vote for him. But whether you're going to vote for John McCain or Barack Obama, it's important that you share your opinion with the folks in your community, with the members of your family, your friends, with your co-workers, and ultimately you go in and you cast a ballot the way you believe this country ought to move for the next 4 years on November 4th. Now my mother, she took a little different direction than my father. She also was an immigrant. She came here in 1950. And my mother never became a citizen until 1996. She waited 46 years before she cast her first vote. And she did it simply because my brother was running for office as a judge. And thankfully, her vote and a few other votes, my brother was elected a judge here in Wayne County. But it was amazing, the stories my mother told to all her friends who hadn't yet become citizens after she went to vote for her son, my brother. She couldn't believe that she had waited 46 years to vote in the country, or that she had grown to love over those 46 years. And even though I view her as a wise and smart woman, she felt very foolish about not taking part earlier and not getting involved earlier. Now all of us, well, actually all of us can have a child run for office here in America. That is the beauty of America. But I hope that none of us waits till we have a child running for office until we decide to go out and exercise our vote and exercise our political voice. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you grew up looking at the Atlantic Ocean or the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, whether you grew up in England, Ireland, Poland, or whether you grew up on the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, whether you grew up in Southeast Asia, whether you grew up right here in Dearborn or Livonia or Detroit, it is so important that if you are a citizen of this country that you go out and you act upon it. 300 million Americans are relying upon your judgment, are relying upon your choice, are relying upon your vote. And not only 300 million Americans, but people all across the world, people longing to have the ability to go out and work in their community, voice an opinion, and to vote. They want us to make our vote, because when we vote, we provide an example for the whole, not only for our friends and for our neighbors and for our community, but for the whole world. Now, wherever you've come from, whatever your ethnic background, whatever your religion is, it is so important to understand as we vote in our Declaration of Independence that we all were given certain inalienable rights by our Creator. And no matter how we worship our Creator, we are obliged to exercise those rights because they are God-given. Now in America, the Constitution and state law provides for us how we get to become eligible to vote. But if we are eligible, we must go out and register. And if we are registered, we must go out and vote. That is the beauty of America, and that is really that is the obligation of America. I just want to leave you with a couple last thoughts. In 9 days, on November 4th, all of us get that final opportunity for the next, at least for the next 2 years, perhaps 4 years, certainly in voting for president. We get that opportunity to make a difference. There's so many people around you who do make a difference. And so many, whether they're elected or whether they're just a citizen who's trying to make a difference in their community. I encourage all of you, over these next 9 days, when you go to your mosque, when you go to your church, when you go to your synagogue, wherever it is you come in contact with fellow citizens, especially the Yemen community, to emphasize with them the beauty of America, and that the beauty of America can only last if we all take part in shining that beauty. And the way we do that is by voting on November 4th. Now we're going to hear from a lot of great speakers, and you're going to hear from speakers telling you why you ought to vote for Barack Obama, why you ought to vote for John McCain, why you ought to vote for whatever party it is that they're going to talk about. I ask that you listen to them and you consider what they have to say, because they are out here doing what Americans ought to do. When I read of the history of Yemen, I think really any Yemen American or anyone first, second, third generation, and you read the history of this great civilization, one of the oldest civilizations in the world, at the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, and you think about the history between North and South Yemen and Aden, and you think about just the unification, which I believe was 15 or 18 years ago, and you think about the struggles of the people back in Yemen and what they've endured in order to become a more open and free society. And you must stop and say to yourself, I live in a free and open society, and it's my obligation, November 4th, to go out and ensure that it stays that way. Colin Powell last Sunday got on TV and he talked about the candidate he was supporting. And he talked about that he was going to support Barack Obama. Now, of course, for me, as a Republican, that was a disappointment. But I found one thing that Barack Obama said so enlightening and such a strong statement of what America is about. When he was asked about the thoughts about whether Barack Obama, whether people would vote for him or not, or whether if they thought he was a Muslim or not. And he made such a strong statement on that Sunday on that TV program, talking about, so what